Hey guys, if you've been hanging out for my Southern Africa video, hang out no more. It is here. My apologies for the delay in getting this video out. It's been a bit hectic after that 5-week trip. We had all of one day to recover, then back into work, and I've had a lot of time to flip and edit these photos, and it took a week to get over jet lag. But anyway, nonetheless, I'm here. The video is the video is good to go. So I'm going to try and keep it short and sharp. Let me just give a quick summary of what it is this trip entailed. It was 5 weeks in Southern Africa. First 2 weeks we were based in Cape Town. Then we ventured over to Vic Falls for 2 nights, Botswana for 1 day, and then an 8-day road trip around Namibia before flying back to Cape Town for the rest of the holiday. So I'm going to stick a bit of B-roll in here just to keep it entertaining and show you what I've been up to. Starting off with Cape Town, like I said, we were based there for a couple of weeks. Cape Town in its own right needs its own video. It's perfectly situated at the bottom of Africa. It's got Cape Point, the Indian Ocean on the east coast, the Atlantic on the west, and it just makes for a spectacular base. What better place to base yourself? I'm very biased because Cape Town's my home town, and every time I go back there, I fall more and more in love with the place. So I cannot stress enough just what a fantastic location Cape Town is. And if you're on the fence about visiting, well, jump over, because it is nothing short of spectacular. As you can see by some of the B-roll which I'm putting in here while I'm talking, Cape Town has a lot to offer. From the beaches to the mountains, the lakes, the rivers, the walks, the canyons, the desert, the vineyards. It has such a diverse range of activities and places in one area that it is almost unfair that one place can be so beautiful. So, but this is not just about Cape Town. There's other places I would like to talk about. Cape Town, like I said, deserves its own video because it is such a spectacular location. And I will in time commit a full video just to my beautiful hometown. So after 2 weeks in Cape Town, we just nipped across the border to Zim, to Victoria Falls, because Vic Falls is one of those bucket list items in the world you just have to go and do and see and experience. Look, Zimbabwe's gone through some troubles, but they're on the rebuild again. And Victoria Falls, if it's not on your bucket list, it should be really, because it's an iconic place and just an incredible thing to experience, the size of that waterfall. So we spent 2 nights in Vic Falls. The 2 days there, 1 day we nipped over to Botswana, because it's an hour drive from Vic Falls through a border post, Kazangula. Interesting fact about Kazangula, it borders 4 countries, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and South Africa. So incredible place to visit, because you've got some options while you are there. There's a bonus tip though, if you're coming in from Zimbabwe side, that I'll tell you at the end, which just helps you when you're traveling around those countries. So just stick for the end for that bonus tip. So yep, we spent a day on the Chobe, which is it actually sits in a national park called the Chobe National Park, and the safari is divvied up into 2 segments. You got the morning segment, which you drive around the park and see all the animals, and then stop. They take you to a nice resort type of a place, and you have a lunch there. And then in the afternoon, you jump on a boat and you do a river safari, which is also very, very nice just to experience animals, but from the water side of things. So cannot recommend Chobe National Park in Botswana enough. Similar, Botswana as the Okavango Delta, and in its own right probably deserves a visit as well as a dedicated video, which I hope to do sooner rather than later. So after the Vic Falls and Botswana, we commenced what was the main leg of our trip, which was the road trip around Namibia, which is what we were really excited about. So we flew into Windhoek, picked up our vehicle in Windhoek, spent one night in Windhoek and a half a day doing some sights and sounds. Once again, have a look at the B-roll here. I put together some clips on our phone, or I beg your pardon, my wife did a lot of the video stuff. I was taking more photos, just because of social media and sharing it with family and friends all over the world. It's just easier to do these 1 minute or 2 minute videos, video reels, if you will, which does give you a good idea as to what it is we did on these trips. So yeah, the main leg of our trip was Namibia. From Windhoek, after we picked up the car, we headed south towards a place called Sesriem and found our first bit of accommodation there. So in that southern part of Namibia, Sesriem, Sossusvlei, we spent 2 nights. One night at a beautiful place. I'll put some B-roll in here. I managed to do some video there actually. It's a stunning, stunning location. Very, very happy we found the place, even though it was probably another 45-minute drive out of Sesriem, but it was well worth it purely because of the animals that were right there. So the second night in Sossusvlei, we spent in camping in the vehicle, just because we had the vehicle and wanted to experience it. Also stunning, stunning location. Enjoyed it thoroughly. And then we got up sort of early the next morning and drove to Deadvlei. Now Deadvlei is one of those photography or photographers' havens. The place is a dead lake, and apparently these trees are 900 years old, but they don't decompose because of the dryness there. But they must have been burnt at some stage because they're very, very black. And then you've got the white, must be salt from the lake that's there. And then you've got the, like I said, the black trees, this white lake, the red sand dunes and the blue sky. Makes for some pretty dramatic and beautiful photos. So I've got some of them. I wish they were better, but you know, it's all a journey. So that was very, very special. I really enjoyed staying there. I loved the place, the wide open spaces, the vistas, the panoramas. It's just nothing short of breathtaking. The footage that I put in here, the photos that I take, doesn't really capture the essence of the place. Gives us an idea, yes, but it's something that you have to go and experience. So that sort of concluded the southern leg of Namibia. There's a lot more to see in the southern part, but we were quite happy to just do these few things. Probably go back in four subsequent visits. So after Sesriem, Sossusvlei and Deadvlei, we sort of ventured northwest towards the coast to Walvis Bay and Swakopmund. Now, the thing that struck us the most about that leg was the drives are all fine. The roads are mostly gravel, but in good condition. I do read that they change depending on the rains and whatever. So do some research if you can. But we found the roads to be very, very fine. There wasn't any problems with the roads at all. If you stick to the speed limit, you're going to be okay. So inland Namibia, southern hemisphere, summertime, December, January, February, it is hot, all right? But the temperature dropped by more than 10 degrees when we hit the Atlantic Ocean and the coast, because the Atlantic's a lot cooler. It brings in that cool air from the Atlantic and it cooled things down quite substantially. And it was quite cloudy, didn't look too pretty, Walvis Bay and Swakopmund. Walvis Bay has the pink flamingos, and I'm not sure if there's anything else to do in that neck of the woods. Swakopmund, there is some activities. That's got Dune 7, which is quite, a big attraction that people like to climb. And then you can hire quad bikes, and there are some other adventure activities in the place. But it's quite unique because it is where desert meets the ocean. So quite a nice, striking contrast there. Stayed one night in Swakopmund at a beautiful accommodation we found actually. I'll link to it below because we had dinner in a nice cellar, even though we teetotalers. Anybody that's into wine would really enjoy that if you want to have dinner in a very, very beautiful cellar in Swakopmund. This place that we stayed at offers it. What else can I tell you? And then, yep, we only spent one night there and then decided to venture on venture on to Etosha. Okay, so we left Swakopmund en route to Etosha. And Etosha, we chose to spend 3 days there because that is like I suppose like the Kruger National Park of Namibia. It's where you see a lot of the animals. Botswana, the equivalent would be Chobe National Park. That's where you see a lot of the animals. So each place has a national park where the likelihood of seeing the big five is quite high. And in Namibia, that would be Etosha. So we spent 3 nights in Etosha. The drive from Swakopmund to Etosha was pleasant. The road was safe, nice, comfortable, no dramas there. Accommodation, you've got accommodation choices both in Etosha, in the actual park or outside. We chose to stay outside and then venture in. The drive around Etosha, once you're inside, is all gravel road, but well maintained, nice. Just watch your speed because there's animals aplenty. So take your time, cruise around. We did it in 2 days because the distances are quite sort of big to cover, and you are stopping quite a bit, taking a lot of photos. So make sure you got food with you, make sure you got plenty water, obviously your cameras and all that type of thing, because you'll be in for a treat when it comes to seeing animals. I mean, the high season in Etosha is in winter in South Africa, which is June, July, August. So that's the dry season in the southern hemisphere in that neck of the woods. The wet season is December, January, February. So what happens is there's a lot of rain, the water holes are full, there's not so much competition for water, and because it's so lush and green, the animals are harder to see. But as things dry up and the water holes dry up, it becomes a bit more competitive. So you can get to see a lot more animals in the dry season. So choose your time accordingly, because we're on holiday here in the southern hemisphere most of the time at the end of the year. We just wanted to go and catch up with family and friends over Christmas time too. So, but I think either time of the year, it's not going to matter. As you can see by the B-roll here, we saw elephants in Chobe, an incredible cheetah sighting, plenty rhino, buffalo, hippo. Didn't see any leopards, saw lions. So you're going to still see them. It's just maybe not as often, or they're not as prevalent as in winter. We didn't see any elephants in Etosha, which is, that I know for a fact they are there. But it's just the luck of the draw. We saw plenty elephants in Chobe. So plan your trip nicely. You will not be disappointed with that whole Southern Africa region. Like I said, Zimbabwe, Vic Falls, Botswana, Chobe. Namibia's got loads to do. Namibia is a special place, huge country, but only 2.5 million people. So look guys, I'm going to wrap the video up there. From a photographer's perspective, I do have, because I know this is aperture to zoom, we're supposed to be talking about photography. I do have some photos which I'm going to put in now, so please stay and have a look at those photos. I'm going to keep them to a few only, maybe a half a dozen at the most, 10. But drop some comments in the comments below, what you thought of the video, what the trip looked like, what you thought of the photos. It's always good to get positive feedback. Aperture to zoom, as the name implies, we're going to be covering in its entirety all the different concepts around photography and videography from aperture to zoom. So look, thanks for stopping by. Consider following along, and we can take it from there. Catch up in the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.